Well, I did watch the news. I watched it twice. I still had to write down a script to tell you what happened. So yes, we just got what some might consider to be filler news. We've really just learned about things which we have known about for a while, but at the same time, these news talked about some big topics. One of which is currently in a bit of a grey area. And as it tends to be on the internet, this started quite a conversation. So without further ado, let's dive into what we actually got from these news. First of all, yes, Meddler is not present this time because he is currently on his own wedding. Congratulations, and as a married man myself, I can tell you, nothing really changes. Anyway, Bright Moon confirmed that they recorded this on February 15th. So anything that happened after this wouldn't be included here, and I can tell you, not much happened. It's not like they're gonna talk about 2xKO. So right at the beginning, they pass the words to Riot Frogzone, who talks about the start of the season. Here he first summarizes how there was no preseason, and how they shifted timelines to nail the season start. And overall, they are happy with how people had more time to grind ranked, but also they feel like it made the beginning of the year more exciting. After which he reveals some of their views. Apparently, currently, Riot is happy with the game stability, all the new objectives, and the game balance. See, that's a phrase that can trigger people. And yeah, I'll be honest, I've heard about two big complaints. With some of the new items and the reworks, one-shotting got disgusting. Although now, most of that should be removed. And also, I've heard that top lane is not in a great place. So you know what? I'll pass on the judgments. But Frogzone then also added that they are happy with the current champion balance, game pacing, and snowballing. Again, at the very beginning though, Assassins had a jolly old time, and Frogzone recognizes that next. Riot knows that not everything was smooth from the get-go. From the very beginning, the goal was to take away some of the power from the items and give it directly to the champions. And they would do this by reducing some of the stats, such as haste. At the same time, they wanted to make items more satisfying for damage classes by taking away all the stats that don't give you damage, such as health. Which of course resulted in all the one-shotting which I just mentioned. Especially with the way Bloodsong and Storm Surge scaled on top of that. So they are aware of the issues and they are trying to take steps towards the durability again. But as to how well that will go, it's gonna depend on how fast you get one shot. Next he talks about the MMR, and specifically he tackles some of the issues that were brought up throughout the last few months. Especially when it comes to ranking new players and negative LP gains. Now apparently, last season more than half of all Emerald players had negative LP gains. In other words, they were losing a lot more LP than they gained when they won. And we even learned that in Masters and above, that affected about 85% of the players. Of course, all of this is the simple result of placing people where they are not supposed to be. So by increasing the accuracy of your ranked system, all of these issues will go away. And Frogzone confirmed that this season they managed to reduce this to only 5%. You can think what you want about the ranked climb, but that's impressive. Though he did remind us that there will be moments where negative LP is simply a thing, because sometimes it needs to correct the ladder. On top of this, they also managed to fix some bugs that placed new players in places where they were not supposed to be. So yes, it actually happened. There were new accounts that were placed pretty high from the very beginning. But it was a bug. And in most cases, those accounts were only placed in like gold or platinum. So the damage to the ladder was not that massive. But yeah, that's pretty much it on this front. As he mentioned, overall they are happy with the season start, they are excited about all the adjustments, and ranked looks pretty good so far. But after this, the news goes back to Pew Pew Lasers and Bright Moon, where they start talking about a very sensitive topic. Vanguard. Of course, Vanguard is the kernel level anti-cheat that's being shoved into League. The reason why this is a big drama is because when Valorant first released, Vanguard did not have a great reputation. And even though they fixed quite a few issues around it, its reputation is still not great. So, here they confirmed that League's version of Vanguard will be different from Valorant. It's because they have to customize it to specifically hunt down cheaters, scripters and bots in League of Legends, which of course has a totally different engine from something like Valorant. But they are aware of the fact that this is a big thing, which is why their initial rollout is slow. At the start, they are only targeting smaller regions, and after they see that it's not really affecting performance, then they can push it out into the world, with the targeted global release still being April. Now, while that's really all we learned here, it still sparked quite a conversation. And unfortunately, these conversations have a lot of misinformation in them. So here I'd like to give you as much objective info as possible. See, if you're afraid of anti-cheat, and you're afraid of installing a kernel-level anti-cheat on your computer because it might steal your data, it's too late. With a simple Google search, you might find out what other games are also using kernel-level anti-cheats. And they have all had them for over 5 years now. So we're talking about games such as Fortnite, Fall Guys, Halo, PUBG, Rainbow Six Siege, Apex Legends, Ark, For Honor or Call of Duty. Literally every single one of the big game titles has it. So if you have any of these installed on your computer, it's already too late. League wouldn't be greater evil than anything else you can currently find in the industry. But here's the thing, you have to look at why people are afraid of kernel-level anti-cheats. See, there is a really awesome article that talks about kernel-level anti-cheats that was released only a week ago. It was released by Ryan Rigney, who was the former communication lead for Apex Legends and League of Legends, who currently runs the Odyssey Interactive. And the reason why this was published is because very recently, Helldivers were also caught in the crossfire because they also have a kernel-level anti-cheat. What's cool is that in this article, he interviewed game engineers as well as security experts. And the findings are hilarious. It shows that if you are afraid of kernel-level anti-cheats, it means that you may not understand what it actually does. I mean, the title of the article is "Gamers Do Not Understand Anti-Cheat." Of course, I won't go through the entire article, but let me give you a quote. "Anti-cheat is such a cursed field to work in. Developers have no incentive to steal your data or hurt your computer. And if an evil developer did want to harm their players, then they don't need anti-cheat software to do this. Installing their game would be enough. Stealing your nudes, getting your passwords, stealing your bank info. None of these things require kernel-level driver. All of that is possible with a regular application that you install on your computer. I don't need kernel driver to stealthily record your webcam. I don't need kernel driver to get your credit card info." This just perfectly summarizes it. Yes, kernel-level anti-cheats are still in a gray area because they could be used maliciously. But if Riot really wanted to steal your data, they could do it through the client. Maybe that's why sometimes it's really slow. Speaking of which, slowing down your computer is the only real viable reason why to dislike kernel-level anti-cheats. Even if they are idle and they don't really do anything, it is still an app that is running in the background. That's why Vanguard got a lot of hate throughout its first iterations. Originally, you were required to have Vanguard up all the time from the moment you booted up your computer. But since then, Riot relaxed it a bit. Although, it is still not what people would like to see. And in fact, that's exactly the reason why I dislike Vanguard. I just really hate seeing the icon in the taskbar, because it reminds me that there is something running in the background which doesn't have to be running right now. So yes, despite the info I just gave you, I am still not a massive fan of kernel-level anti-cheat. But all in all, if you have decided to quit League because there is now a kernel-level anti-cheat, I feel like you were just looking for an excuse to finally quit the game, which is good. Don't play games you don't like, it's as easy as that. And if the anti-cheat turns out to be slowing down computers, Riot said that they are ready to jump in. So until then, just try not to be too paranoid about all of this. Also, allow me to joke about it a bit. I saw some people bring up a really funny point. Say Riot is stealing your data and they can see your interest and your browsing history. What would they do with that information? Make better skins that you actually like? Isn't that what people want? That's a joke, don't cancel me, let's move on. So next, Pew Pew Lasers talks about bots. At least the good kind of bots. Last year they ran some tests with a new kind of AI opponents. But after that, they retired them for improvements. And now they are ready to release them for a comeback, and yes, we even got a whole separate dev blog about these. TLDR is that these are new AI opponents that should behave like real players. They can jungle, they can rotate between lanes, and they can even take objectives. So if you really don't have friends to play with, at least now there are some fake friends you can play against. But then moving on, let's talk about prestige skins. That's right, our favorite topic to talk about is back. And this time they confirmed that after Evelynn and Kayle get their prestige skins, the ones after that will be for Yuumi and Leona. With Leona especially making some people mad because she is totally gonna enjoy the third one besides the other two prestige skins which she already has. And on top of that they revealed that the next mythic skin theme will be Crystalis Indomitus. Why does it sound like a Warhammer mech? But yes, it is a continuation of the Crystalis Modus theme, which ironically was started by Leona. And the 3 confirmed champions to get these skins will be Kha'Zix, Xerath and Nautilus. All of this info is also available in a separate dev blog, where they also reveal the new Mythic Store rotations. Which is where all the news are nearing its end. So to close it all off, they confirmed that there will be some surprises coming up in April. Of course, remember that it's gonna be April Fools. And apparently the theme is gonna be nachos. With the obvious joke coming up being about the nacho train. Which might be teasing a Scion skin? Though to be fair, last time they turned Mordekaiser into a train. What I do know is that the game modes team is still going crazy, so... is there gonna be new gameplay too? See, once again on Twitter, Pew Pew Lasers confirmed that the game modes team is doing big things on the level of Arena. We just don't know what it is and when it will come. I don't have high hopes for April Fools, I still think they are doing a big thing for the summer event. But we'll see, it's supposed to be a surprise. I'm ready to get surprised. The thing is, throughout all of these news, somehow Wild Rift still stole the thunder. Like, yeah, they overshadowed everything by confirming that Viego is coming to Wild Rift with his awesome new HD model. So you know what? That April Fool's surprise better be good.